Hey guys, it's me again. And it's May, and that means that we're in the middle of spring. I know what that means, flowers are blooming, the weather's getting better even over here, and a lot of young, cute baby animals are being born. So somebody gave me the idea of, hey, you should do a top 10 anime animals. And I was thinking, like, do I actually know 10 anime animals? I was kind of iffy on that. So I started looking around, and eventually I did find a top 10. So here they are, my top 10 anime animals. At number 10, we have Black Hayate from Fullmetal Alchemist. And Black Hayate is the perfect example of how animals are often portrayed in anime, in that they're just kind of there, they don't really have anything to do with the plot, and most of the time they're just there for comedic purposes. And Black Hayate is a perfect example of this because he just comes in one episode, he's just the center of, a sort of comedic relief gag, and afterwards he doesn't really do anything. This is often what happens with animals in anime, and that's why many of them aren't really memorable. But I have to say, the scenes with Black Hayate are pretty funny. And I do remember those for the series, even though it's been a while since I watched it. So because of that reason, because I still, kind of remember it, and that's already hard enough as an anime animal, I put him at number 10. So at number 9, we have Kyubey from Madoka Magica. And the reason that Kyubey is so low on the list is because, technically, he's not really an animal. He does look like one, which I put him higher on the first place, but he's not actually an animal. So putting him on the list is already kind of cheating. And I can't really go into Kyubey too much without going into spoilers for the series, what he actually is, what he does to the plot, but he is very involved with the plot. He's the exact opposite of Black Hayate. He's not really there for comedic purposes. He really plays an important factor. And although more animals will do that later on in this list, I put Kyubey here at number 9 to show that animals can also serve a different function in the plot of an anime. So Kyubey at number 9. At number 8, well, we're right back to comedy. It's Tanuki from Gekon Shoujo Nozuki-kun. And the reason that it's a bit higher on the list than Black Hayate is because even though, it serves the same role, it's just for comedic purposes, it doesn't even do anything, and it's not even actually an animal, it's just, a manga character in the series itself. But I put him a bit higher on the list because, a Black Hayate is a dog, and dogs and cats, even though they're already sort of rare in anime, you see those around. But Tanukis, that you don't see those. Certainly not as a recurring character. Maybe it's just a one-off gag or something. But no, the Tanuki keeps coming back. But I thought it was kind of interesting that they chose such a weird animal to include in this series. So because you don't see that very often, he's at number 8. At number 7, whoever said that animals can't have character development in anime obviously had it wrong. Because at this point we have the cat from Free. Look, he doesn't really have a name, but I want to talk about him because there's something interesting with him. In the very first episode of Free, you see Makoto. Makoto's character is introduced as kind of this loving and caring personality, but he meets this, very young kitten, and he just starts playing around with him, and that sort of introduces Makoto as a character. And you kind of think like, oh yeah, this is just a one-off, and then they'll continue on. But no, that cat comes back in the second season, and now he's all grown up. I don't know, for some reason, I enjoyed that was there, that cat came back. So yeah, he might not be that amazing of a pick, but he's here at number 7, the cat from Free. At number 6, we have Tetsuya number 2 from Kuroko no Basuke. And this is another of those comedy animal characters. Because Tetsuya number 2 is basically a dog that, randomly gets thrown into the series. Even though the dog doesn't serve any interesting purpose, it's funny because they were able to put the personality of Kuroko so well on this dog, and just they look so similar. It's just really funny how they handle it. I find kind of interesting how well they portrayed Kuroko as a dog. And well, he's just there, and I just really love his scene, so that's why he's at number 6. That's the number 2 from Kuroko no Basuke. So this next part contains spoilers for the film Spirit Away, and I assume most of you have already seen Spirit Away, which is why I thought it was okay to talk about it here. But just in case you haven't and you don't want any spoilers, click over here to skip this section of the top 10, and you'll continue on with the rest. So yeah. At number 5, just as with Kyubey, this might be a little bit cheating, but it's Haku from Spirited Away. And you might think to yourself, wasn't Haku just, a regular human, not an animal? And well, you're right, that's why it's cheating. But at one point in the movie, he just turned into a dragon, and it's pretty damn awesome. I haven't really seen another dragon character in anime that I could put on this list, but I thought just the inclusion of a dragon makes a lot of things better. So Yeah, that's really the only reason why he's so online on the list, aside from being important for the actual plot of the movie, is just that he's a dragon. It's just bloody awesome. So that's why he's at number five. Haku from Spirited Away. So at number four we have Korra from Akame ga Kill, and just like the previous one, he is really very much just on the list just because he's awesome. Korra is also arguably not really an animal because he's one of the Imperial arms, which are basically the items that give you superpowers that the series kind of revolves around. And Koro is, the only biological Imperial arms. So I think it counts as an animal, but I'm not sure. But anyways, he's here on the list just because he's awesome and horrifying. If you look at him just normally, that's pretty damn cute. That's pretty cute. But that's just how he introduced. You think like, oh, it's just a fun little dog, and then suddenly, boom, first fight scenes, he turns into death, and that's not okay. That's so disturbing. Even though a lot of bad things happen in Comic Kill, this is still pretty ter- this is still with me. So yeah, that's why he's at number four. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty gross. At number four, Koro from a Comic Kill. So at number three, we have Subaru from Shinsekai Yori. And Subaru is the big character in Shinsekai Yori, like some of the other animals that I talked about. He's not there for comedic relief because that's just not the kind of series Shinsekai Yori is. But he's also not really there for the plot. He's really just kind of there. He's a dog that one of the character has and takes care of, and that's his role throughout most of the series. But more towards the end, and I don't know if I can talk about this without going into spoilers, but I will try. Basically, stuff happens which makes it very dangerous to be there. But Subaru stays with his master throughout the entire thing. It doesn't matter how dangerous it is. And it's just touching to see, this dog staying so loyal to his master. It's really the portrayal of like man's most loyal companion. And as I said, it's just touching to see that, to see him stay together throughout everything. And yeah, because it's just so touching, as I said, that's why he's at number three, Subaru from Shinsekai Yori. At number two, we have Akamaru from Naruto. And I couldn't really help myself but put Akamaru fairly high on the list. Because Akamaru is not just so much, an animal that's just there. No, he's actually a big part of Kiba's character. Kiba and him work together. Kiba's whole ninja moveset revolves around Akamaru helping him. That's what makes it so interesting. They fight together, they have a lot of interesting techniques. Their fight scenes together are just really cool, even though we don't get to see a whole lot of them. And because Naruto is such a long series, Akamaru is also one of the characters that you form sort of a bond with because you feel like, he's just one of the ninjas. And that makes it interesting because as you can see on this list, there aren't a lot of other anime animals that you develop, such a bond with. And Naruto just does that by being a long anime. But nevertheless, it's interesting. He makes for some awesome fight scenes, and that's why it's Akamaru at number two. And at number one, we have a fairly recent anime animal, and it's Toromaru from Gakugurashi. And Toromaru is just so interesting. Toromaru is perfect for this series because he's just kind of there, and at first you think like, oh, it's a cute little dog, and it's fun, and it's got some comedic moments and all of that. But Toromaru has, it's not so much himself as the backstory behind him what makes him interesting. And I won't go into it too far, but there's a really emotional story behind how he got together with the group. And that just fits so perfectly with the series. Something that's looked really cute and funny on the surface, but goes much deeper and emotional underneath that. Even later on in the series, towards the end, he plays a pretty big role. Once again, I won't go into it because of spoiler reasons, but believe me, if you haven't watched this series, I think it's really interesting and I think you should watch it. But just Toromaru is just such an important character, even though he doesn't really look like one, and that's why I love him. He just fits that series so perfectly that I put him at number one, Toromaru from Kakagurashi. So once again, that was my top 10. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed making it. I found it, to be a very interesting topic, which I hadn't really thought about before. So I really enjoyed looking through all the anime I had watched and finding all the animals which I could say something about. And I was able to fill a top 10 with fairly interesting animals. So yeah, it's fun. If you have anything to say about this top 10, like your own favorite anime animal or an idea for a upcoming top 10s, please put them down in the comments. I'd love to read them. And for now, that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Later.